In this episode, we're going to look at a Sony PCM2500A and B. This is a professional digital audio tape system that would have been used by recording studios, and it was one of Sony's first digital audio tape decks that they released. This is a Sony PCM2500A DAT recorder and PCM2500B processor. And this one doesn't work. Doesn't load, doesn't play. So let's pull the top off it and check out the mechanism to start. I've already pulled the side panels off that hold the two units together. And then there's 4 more screws in the top. Side panels have to come off because there are screws that go through the side that also go through the side of the unit itself. Remove the top, reveals the mechanism. Looks similar to how the Tascam loads on their machines, or similar. Not the same, obviously, but theirs is a tray loading system, the same as this one. Okay, for starters, we have a slipping belt. That's for starters. Yeah, that belt's slipping. So first things first, let's change out that little belt. Belt comes off nice and easy. Can't be any simpler than that. Okay, I've got another belt. Looks to be roughly the same size. Let's put this one on and see whether it will load. Oops. Make sure we got our tape in before doing that. Okay, that one loads. Will the unit go into play? Will it thread? Well, it looks like it's threading, but it's not completing the loading cycle. It's unthreading again. So we may have some, oh, it's fast forwarding the tape there, rewinding it. What's it doing? It's telling me it has to open. So something's not right. So let's first of all clean up there might be another belt here too. There's a belt probably on this motor here that threads the mechanism. How do we get at that one though? Probably have to pull the mechanism out. But let me just, first of all, we're going to clean up any dried grease that's on the guides and slide rails and stuff. So let me grab a Q-tip. We'll put some isopropanol on there and just wipe down the track. Make sure that it's not stuck because something's gummed up. Okay, let's see if it'll thread up any better now. Still doing the same. All it'll do is unload the tape. Okay, this motor here, this is just to load and unload the cassette mechanism to draw the tape in on the tray. This motor's lowering and raising the cassette. There's another motor that operates the loading mechanism probably in below, so I'm going to have to pull the mechanism out to see that one and see if it's gummed up. We'll start by removing the bottom cover. Arrow mark screws, like most Sony stuff. This board will likely swing out, and we may be able to see the motors and everything from below. Ah, look at that. So looking at the bottom of the chassis, we have our take up and supply reel motors here, capstan motor here, drum motor here, loading motor's got to be somewhere in here. Let's look under the servo board here. Undo that clip and undo this plug. Just slowly. There we go. Okay. Now I'll just remove this board. There's another little belt right here, and I bet it's slipping. Yeah, it is. Okay, let's just see if we can change out this little belt too. Okay, turn this thing over now and see if it'll thread. I can do this without putting the bottom on it. Okay, it's still not completing its loading cycle. So something's still up with it. I'm still getting the caution indicator as soon as it spins up, and then it unloads. I'm thinking perhaps we may have some of these surface mounted caps here on the servo board might be problematic. I'm going to test them. Whenever I see surface mounted caps, I get nervous, right? Because they cause so many problems. So I may have to change them out, but we'll pull the board. I want to take a look at them and see what shape they're in. It's not, the belt's not slipping. I put a new belt in anyway, but it is completing the loading cycle. It's just not reading the tape. And it's coming up with caution, which could be triggered if the servo is not detecting that it's running at the right speed. So we'll check the drum drive. So let's just check these caps for ESR, how the ESR value is on them. Open. Open. 12, a little bit high. 15. Yeah, I think these four caps will need to get changed now. They're all 10 microfarad at 16 volts. So let me just find some replacement. We'll swap those four out and give it another try. We note the polarity, negatives facing towards the plug on all four of them. We're going to cut these out. And then remove the pins. So cut the tops off all of them. This way we're not going to damage the board in any way by putting any stress on the copper traces. Now I can break the plastic base by just holding down one side of it and prying up on the other. That way the base will come off without stressing the pins, because the problem with these caps, especially if they leak, is that the electrolytic itself is corrosive and it will damage the board, and it could damage the traces. So we want to try to prevent any damage to the traces if possible. Now we'll just remove the pins that remain and install new caps in place of them. Retin the board. I'm not using surface mount caps, I'm just using conventional low profile electrolytics. as I got lots of room to put these in. There's our four new caps mounted on the board. Let's reinstall it. I'm going to try a tape that I actually can play, because this is not my Music Bakery tape, so let's just try a different tape here. It seems like it's working. I don't even have the 2500B on, I'm just using the AD converters and stuff in this one here. There it is, it's working. look on the front here, we'll see anytime there's an error picked up off the tape, the little light will flash there. Counter mode, remaining program time counter. Does it not read, I don't know if it's read time code or not on this one. Tells me I'm recorded at 44.1. I guess it doesn't read time code with just this unit itself. Let's go to the next track. Search out the next track. There we go. Next track is searched. We'll go to that go to track 4. That should take it to track 4. I think there's 4 tracks on this. Yeah, there's track 4. Let it go back to track 1. Just press 1, enter, and it'll go back to track 1. Nice! Actually, this is a nice looking unit. PCM2500A. You'll notice on this unit, if I zoom in here, there's damage on my tape there at the beginning. TDA1541 D-to-A converter chip. Of course, that's the D-to-A converter that is very sought after with CD players, right? A lot of people, they love the old 1541 chip. It was rated by many as one of the finest of the D-to-A converters of its day. There were certainly better ones made after the fact, but this is an early unit. Anyway, this unit is functional. The guy that sent me this unit will be pretty happy. I don't know what it costs to ship this thing. I don't want to know how much it costs to ship. The box was about 80 pounds. I went to the post office to pick it up, and the lady at the post office, she wouldn't pick the thing up. She kicked it with her feet along the floor and pushed it out front for me. She wouldn't pick it up. I went to pick the thing up and holy crap, this thing weighs a ton. I mean, this unit is probably 30 pounds by itself, and I think the other piece is probably another 30 pounds or more. I don't know the weight, but all I know is the whole thing was probably 60 pounds. 60, 65 pounds. It was pretty heavy in the box. Anyway, this unit's working. Next, I'll plug it into the other unit and we'll check it out with the 2500B, make sure that's working. That's an outboard DAT converter, right, that plugs into this one. Gives the balanced outputs and so forth, and a digital out and digital input and so forth. Anyway, I'm going to reassemble this unit now because this is fixed. Get the bottom on it, get the top on it. We'll hook it up to the 2500B and test that. These units have a really nice transport. They're using the 4-motor transport. Drum motor, capstan motor, and each, the supply and take-up, have their own direct drive motor, which are quite sought after, actually. One up from the 75 ES. Looks like this thing's been modified. See, these wires here, these are mods that Sony did. What that typically means was that there was a problem that was identified after the unit was in production, and Sony made mods. There's probably another little board in there somewhere, but Sony modded it after the fact. When I worked for Sony, I had to do mods like this on Betamax machines. We would open up basically every box that came in and do the factory mods before the unit was sold. Judging from these felt pads. It looks like this unit probably was sold under a couple different models and would have had feet screwed down on it as well. But when it was sold with the 2500B, it was sold as a package. So the other unit is basically sits directly below it. It's connected by a multi-connector cable. This is the 2500B, and I figure we'll pop the top off this and just see what the hell's inside this box. I don't know that this is another DA converter. I think this is just a digital interface that allows you to interface or record and play digitally, like through a coaxial digital connection. It does have the balanced inputs outputs on the back, but I'm not so sure that they do anything. There's also RCA plugs here. I'm curious whether they just loop through or whether they actually do something other than that. Oh, there's another. See on the back here we've got your AES EBU SPDIF 2, SPDIF in, SPDIF out. I don't know what this one here is, 6. It's got this multi-connector. I'm curious because I see these inputs and outputs which are numbered the same as the inputs and outputs on the other unit. So I'm curious as to whether there's actually any actual DA or AD circuitry in here. Let's find out. So as you can see, it's quite a big empty box. Definitely some chips in here, but I have a sneaking suspicion that this is just taking the analog outputs and inputs from the AD and DA converters in the other one and converting them over to a balanced. Looks like these caps here are bulging a bit, but so I think this unit here is more for the copy protection because it's got switches on the front for, like, you know, master safe, emphasis, digital input outputs for SPDIF or AES EBU or SPDIF 2, and you've got copy prohibit right or off, sampling frequency 44.148, and then you got record and playback preset levels for calibration. This is just a processor, you know, wired and wireless remote switch. But one thing I noticed inside this unit when I popped it open, this looks to be an op-amp board which takes the unbalanced inputs and outputs and converts them over to balanced inputs and outputs. This looks like logic that is going to interface with the recorder for that said copy protection and so forth. I notice these 4 caps here look like they're pretty much toast, so we'll swap these 4 caps out while this unit's here, as this unit's come in for service, and that way at least we'll feel good that those caps have been changed out. The other ones I don't see any indication that they're leaking, but certainly these 2 here are bulging big time. At least they're all bulging a bit. So these 4 here, I'm going to swap these out while I've got this unit here. Before I put everything back together, we'll just pop the bottom off it just like the other one. I can go in and change out those caps. And to the guy that left the nasty comment the other day that he had to stop watching my video because of the first ad that ran was the Liberty Insurance, what did he call the guy? A dildo with his big chicken commercial, I guess, that ran on one of my videos. Well, he should be lucky because I got the hockey game on here, and I tell you, the ads that they've been running on the hockey game, got the sound obviously turned down, but I got the game going while I'm working on this thing, and it seems like every single commercial break, there's ads for bankruptcy lawyers. I'd rather see the Liberty guy, at least there's some humor in that. Okay, the 4 caps I'm going to change are these ones right down here. C210, C209, C109, and C110. We're going to pull them out from the bottom of the board here while I've got it on its side. And then we'll just go and swap these ones out. I'm probably just going to tack them in on the bottom because it's easier than... This is a plated through board, so it'd be easier just to put them on the bottom here, and there's lots of room to mount them. So okay, the second unit, the DAT recorder itself sits on top, just like that, and then there's 2 side covers that go on, each of which has a handle. And again, to the guy that was so upset that he had to tell me how he couldn't watch my video past the first commercial break, so I guess he hasn't seen this one either because he'll have turned it off. And he's so upset at having to watch commercials. Well, commercials is how the bills get paid. That's how we as content creators get paid for our time, and that is how YouTube is, operational costs are paid. It's paid by advertising. If you don't want to see advertising, there is a solution. It's called YouTube Premium. Pay your $10 a month or whatever it costs and shut the fuck up. I don't need to hear people bitching to me about advertising on YouTube. Get used to it. Advertising on YouTube happens on every video. Monetized channels are not. The only difference is on monetized channels, they pay us, the content creators, a portion of the revenue, and on non-monetized channels they keep it. But you're going to see the ad regardless, so get used to it. If you don't want to see the ads, you're going to have to pay YouTube every month to not show you the ads. So exactly as I thought, the processor here, the 2500B, basically just takes the analog outputs from here and converts it over to a line level balanced, and then it's got these gain controls here, you see. So that would be like for plugging into a board that needs a high level as opposed to a low level. I had to put jumpers in. See, if I unplug, I get nothing. Right, I get nothing out of there. It needs a patch cord to connect it. Now, this would obviously give you the digital outputs, but as far as analog outputs go, it doesn't do anything. These are just op amps. We'll do a quick test recording on it, make sure it's recording, and then get this one ready to ship back. Yeah, I found out to make a recording, I do actually have to have the multi-connector and the BNC coax connected. Otherwise, it just says copy prohibit on the unit itself and will not go into record. because the signal, I guess, is being sent down to the analog signal still going in the back here because I'm plugged in just to the analog inputs. It's going into here, and this unit is communicating with the 2500B unit, which is putting the copy protection and so forth, because I can turn on copy prohibit, for example, on or off. And master or safe, if it's in master safe mode on, I can't hit record. So if you're working with a master tape that was only for playback, you'd throw that switch on so that you couldn't accidentally record on it. Turn the master safe off, hit record, and I can enter the record mode on here. So if master safe is on, nothing happens, right? If I turn master safe off, I hit record. Now I can pass my signal through. I'm going to cue something up here and just make a quick recording. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so record and play. Not much time left on this tape. There's only a couple minutes. If I hit my counter mode, 1 minute left, so right at the end of this tape. I can select 44.1 or 48 kilohertz for my sampling frequency. If you hear the one channel cutting out, that's my amplifier, not this. I gotta fix this thing again. I got a bad pot on my Pioneer amp. Okay, good enough. We'll go back and play this back. There we go. So it works. Done. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.